It is a time that will be in history books of our children's children. I'm not sure about the interpretation it will be given, though. If it will be seen as the first of many events that are similar and will enslave humans evermore in inhabiting this earth, or if it will be characterized as the event that woke up a world in its humanity to rip the steering wheel around from an ever gross destructing fantasy to a healing vision of a people. We are airing these small spiritual reflections during the COVID-19 crisis in the year 2020. And I'm Julia, one of the Woman Day sisters, born in Germany, living in the Bay Area. It is this context that I wanted to share with you. It is in this context that I wanted to share with you in these weeks an alphabet of healing. Perhaps simply it is a desire in me to keep Easter alive in our hearts. The resurrection, which is so central to our Christian faith, not as a victorious hammer of muteness, but as a scarred revelation of wounds that we will not get rid of, but can awake to. How must it have been for Jesus to be woken up, however we might imagine this, in the romantic blue movie color or the realistic dark tomb or in passionate red, but realizing Jesus, the Christ, wakes up to his wounds, his failures, his losses and griefs? What does that teach us about healing? As a kid, I loved the little animated sailor character Popeye. I have no idea if any of you even know him, but he was often bullied or wanted justice for others who were bullied, and as a fate had been assigned to him, he only needed to eat a can of spinach, rather gulping it down. His biceps would plink with little stars, as would his pectoral muscles, and 1, 2, 3, justice was created by this little sailor. Popeye with his spinach diet. I thought to have spinach like that would be pretty awesome. However, when by divine interference the resurrection of Jesus happened, God obviously forgot to leave a spinach can behind. Jesus woke up to where he left off, with the same prophetic vision that had brought him to the cross in the first place. Love one another as I have loved you. Intimately connecting love and justice, as simple, as challenging, as dangerous, and as gentle as Jesus proclaimed it all his life through. Wakening up, awakening to, is arguably one of the most central verbs in the scriptures, and is connected with attention to God, to God's presence, to God's divine life in this world, in me, and in my surrounding. Awakening to our wounds that have scarred well, but don't disappear, is perhaps the very first step in our process of resurrection, of healing. Awake. We always know where the scar is, if it is serious. You will never have to ask yourself where it is, even multiple ones. They are as much in your soul as they are in your body. They are visible to us. We talk of body memory, and in the same way, we can talk of soul memory in us, between us, in groups, communities, and societies. I have often observed how the ocean at the beach leaves behind pools and images in the sand at the cliffs. The images change every tide, but the sand, I think, never forgets the ocean water scarring it. It's stones, cliffs, glass, elements, ever making smaller sand pearls out of it. What did Jesus do when he wakes up as our Christ with the wounds of humanity? Well, in one of the transmissions we have, he looks for the person that knew him before the wounds were inflicted. that stood by him during receiving the wounds and was now looking for him. Mary Magdalene. Jesus knew he was resurrected to awake to his wounds. He needed to look into the eyes of someone who would awake with him, who would not keep him back, but who would affirm him. Everything has changed about you, Jesus. Your wounds tell me that. I haven't even recognized you, mistook you for the gardener, but your voice for this world, in my soul memory, will always remain the same. You are who you are, awoken to your wounds. Let me run to tell. Jesus, Rabboni the Christ. God, my God, let me believe it is possible, awakening to my wounds every day, looking in your eyes, knowing you knew me from before and during and after. And every step of my path, you have called me to the same prophetic life. A life inviting a world around me to awake to its wounds, courageous, not running, not victimizing, not triumphing, but beginning the journey of healing. And if that seems too small for some, perhaps it's just about the time for them to awake. So today, I would like to leave you with a small moment of the piece of music of the psalm that is part of the Eucharistic liturgy. God has heard the cry of the poor. Blessed be the Lord. The psalm summarizes the meaning of resurrection and healing in our life and world in a unique way. God has heard the cry of the poor. You can stand, you can walk, you can awake. He has heard the cry.